Kako je oče?
Kašla, še skus drugače.
Še skus kašla? Še skus kašla?
In na kisik je še skus.
Kako? Na kisiku je še skus? Tudi ko si ti tam, ima kisik gor?
Se ga nima durmaš. Nama,
Aha,
enkrat na dan.
aha.
Ja, tisto uro, ko sem jaz tam doma.
Tisto uro, ki si ti tam doma? In pa ne more s tabo govoriti, ničesar.
Ja.
To je tako hudo stanje, tako stanje, kot tu je.
Stanje je tako, da mu je zdravnica dala kisik, da lahko diha, pa se skašljuje. Je pa strašno veliko med zaposlenimi in med oskrbovanci gripe.
Well, there you go. We got audio here I have to break down. Concerns my father, and it's shit news concerning his health that is being matched to MK Ultra bestiality performed on my father. Now, let me put it this way. My father is not doing well. My father is, what the mother stated me, still remains hooked up on an oxygen tanks. My father is crazy. Absolutely. There is absolutely no doubt about it. He did not need absolutely any of this stuff. We did not have to go through this shit. I spoke to my father. I couldn't do better than what I did. I tried to wake him up in respect to the stuff that went on at home for elderly people. I try to remind him of this place. I try to remind him of the stuff that went on. And my father just simply was not interested in communicating with me. He was just simply not interested in saving himself out of this shithole elder care home in the city of the Novo Mesto. This is just, I'm going to say, really shit news that I'm going to break down for you today. Make an update for myself. Like I said, my father is crazy. Yeah, he is absolutely crazy. However, this does not mean that you as a police officer, that you as a politician, that you as either a city mayor or state prosecutor or home for elderly employee, hospital employee, a physician, etc., have the right, psychiatrist, nurse, psychiatric nurse, has the right to empower him in his lunacy. Absolutely not. You did not have the right to do what you did to my father. You made him even insaner. He was absolutely insane. Under every meaning of the insanity, my father was a lunatic, because he was no normal person that would go and do stuff like this to himself, and even less to his own son. You gotta be fucking crazy to go and do crazy shit like this to yourself, and even moreover to your son. The care in my book has priority, and I have proven this beyond any doubt. With your relatives, with your family, with your friends, even over yourself. This is the way I am made. This is the way I am. I almost died in the process. On several occasions, I almost met my end when I rushed to the father to meet him at home for elderly people without any fucking sleep, exhausted to death, with a serious problem already, heart problems. Yet I went out there and it almost killed me. With my father, this is a very different story. It shouldn't be, but it is. It's exactly the opposite. Yet even worse. He does not care about himself. He clearly did not care about himself. And you as a physician, you as a police officer, you as a politician, based on what I have reported, you have done not only to me, but you also played with his lunacy. You had no right to make him even insaner. This lunacy, this insanity, is now matching the insanity of MK Ultra. It absolutely does. You're watching Ulcer Times, by the way. I usually post sign right there, Google Ulcer Times. Maybe interesting for me to tell you is that Sergey Mikhailovich Brin, Larry Page, founders of the Google, did not want me to advertise Google Ulcer Times, and I have removed absolutely everything from the internet. That was already done in MK Ultra. Before the MK Ultra ended, they insisted for years they'll do that. And were even asking me, why are you keep writing Google Ulcer Times? We told you that's not what you're supposed to do. And I told them, why? I told them, because Google is going to survive, you will not. Yeah, they were asking me, why? What do you mean by this? I told them, well, I will be the owner of the Google. You will not be the owner of the Google. So what you say to me that I don't have the right to use Google Ulcer Times, I want you to understand one thing. The Google will survive. The Google will continue to go on. I will be in fact owner of the Google. You will not be. Just as simple. You will not make it through. Courts, proceeding, prosecution. I told him, you're going to be left penniless, without nothing. That's why I told him I continue to write down Google Ulcer Times. That's exactly what you are watching. I have a very, very specific, very strange, very different vocabulary. There is some words in my vocabulary that just do not exist. I don't know nothing about no surrender, do not give up, and etc., etc. I don't know nothing about what that means. I'm not secure about myself. I don't think about myself very highly. I'm just doing it. That's all there is to it. Based on MK Ultra scenario, going back to the topic. Oh, Sergey Mikhailovich Brin wanted you to hear this. Well, look what he did. I mean, he removed my blog together with Larry Page, with Bill Gates. They remove everything. They remove everything from the internet about me, every trace, every track of the presence. Actually, so criminal, illegal that can't be more than that. They subjected to my father to MK Ultra and have done to him some insane stuff. They subjected him to extreme exposure to health hazards. They evaluated flu viruses on him. They were testing the viruses on him. They were infecting me next to the father with the viruses. It wasn't only father who ended up on an oxygen tank. I myself ended on an oxygen tank. It would have well to do with some other issues pertaining to the cancer, let's say. Who knows what they were doing with me? Why would somebody have me on a cancer, on an oxygen tanks hooked up to? This is all the stuff I already have written about with proofs supported on the blog. And it came out based on the physician, the woman who is taking care of my father, that on every evaluation done on my father, when it came to extreme stress health tests, extreme stress health evaluation tests, that's basically when they pin you to the bed and they have you for extensive periods of time on the bed. They were reporting to me that they had father, I don't know, for 14 days pinned to the bed and on oxygen and so on and so forth. And they reported to my mother all about, I was present, they had me present, about how he managed to survive this type of lunacies. Evaluations, if you like. Play, literally toying with his life, with his health. And they were logging everything detailedly pertaining to every procedure that required, I should say, every virus, every issue they used or problem they encountered along the way pertaining to his health. That's what they were doing. They were simply doing this kind of stuff. That's exactly what they were doing. There is some much bigger news than this pertaining to the father. I'm going to come out. It pertains to his tube attached to the stomach. When I come with that news, it will be really bad for the police, for the animals at home, for elderly people. I'm just warning. I'm just saying this. This is also does not fit in this subject here. But they were evaluating absolutely every health issue, logging it down, including whatever outcomes. He was hooked up on the computers. He was hooked up, literally measured all the time. He had a healthcare staff, nurses, in the same location where they held him, and in the same location where they have him now. Wherever the hell that location is. That's a room, I don't know, I'm not going to say 237 or wherever it is. No, actually, I'm definitely mistaken about 237. It's on the first floor below. So it can be number 2 up front. And then based on those results that they obtained, measurements they obtained, according to this insane mistreatments he subjected himself to, allow them to do this with him, agree for them to do this stuff on him. They continue to enforce, they continue to repeat exactly the same procedures. With his doctor, female, as I stated she is, physician who claimed me, if the father is going to be pinned on the bed for 2 weeks and stuff like this with the oxygen and stuff like that, she was moving her head in dismissive way that means that he's dead, She, the physician I'm talking about, his physician, did this to me on quite a few occasions. That's a form of gaslighting, driving somebody completely insane out of his skin, not only mind. With anticipation, you're going to rig him into incident through another attack, through another trial or whatever it might be. And, well, this exactly is what we continue to deal with. Let me give you the translation of the audio that I had today with my mother. I spoke with my mother, and let me give you the whole translation about this audio so that you can hear how things went. It's totally copy-paste on MK Ultra. It's a gaslighting. It's designed to drive you absolutely insane. How is the father doing?
Kašla še skus drugače.
Še skus kašla? Še skus kašla?
She said to me, and these are the frequent answers. I said, how is the father? She said to me, he is still coughing, but otherwise he is good, and I don't allow even for her to finish. I said, you said that he is still coughing. What do you mean by this, that he is still coughing? It was 2 weeks ago when he was hooked up to the oxygen machines. Tanks, I should say. You know, this is basically what I'm saying myself. How the fuck is this guy still coughing? Hook up to the oxygen tanks. She's saying to me that he is still coughing and he doesn't have a COVID. He appears that he's having some kind of a virus. How the fuck the virus like this pin him down to the floor for 2 weeks on the bed, and at the same time, as you're about to hear, she will continue that he must stay in the bed, he must not move, he must not exercise, and etc., etc., etc. What she is saying is actually true. But what I'm thinking about is something else. How long can the man stay pinned to the bed when he was doing physically fine, when he was physically doing all right? He was not allowed to do exercise, any kind of exercise with me on the wheelchair. So how long the hell can men live without any fucking exercise with the viruses that they have been testing them on him and on me, by the way, which even for me required oxygen tank. How the hell would that be? How the hell strong as a bull as I was, healthy, I actually end up needing oxygen tank during MK Ultra, which is a definition of a total lunacy. Total lunacy. And it didn't happen one time. It happened on a multitude of occasions, whatever the fuck they were doing with me. It would be interesting to know from this, in a parenthesis, doctor and animals from Novo Mesto police station. Psychiatrist Peter Kapsch. Animals from Ljubljana Polje Psychiatric Hospital. Robert Golob, Milan Kučan, and other animals from Ljubljana, political animals. What the fuck, how far this shit have gone? Because that's exactly what we are watching, and we are watching now a total copy-paste repetition of the stuff that went on during MK Ultra. We continue to do this. I mean, is not maybe enough harm that you have done? Have you not been exposed enough? You want more of it? It's what they refer to as a game. You want more of it? They refer to it as a game. They refer to torture, bestiality. I refer to it as a rat terror. Demanded trembling for life during MK Ultra. Bestiality, lynching, demanded from me to acknowledge as a sort of game. And their ability to retaliate against me through more terror, gaslighting, attacks, simply as a game, as the way to stop me, the way to demoralize me, as the way to get back at me if I would by any chance somehow manage to get atop of them. This is how they communicated with me. So you know that this is about animals, that this is not about people. So I asked my mom, what the fuck is going on with this, that he is still coughing, basically. I don't say what the fuck and so on. I said, pardon me, but you said that he is still coughing. He is still coughing. And he is also on the oxygen. They still keep him hooked up on the oxygen. My mother changed the tone, and she's actually complaining about, he's not happy about that he's on oxygen. Maybe the whole fucking bullshit went a little bit too far even for my mom.
Kako? Na kje si prišel skozi?
I say, what? I say to my mom, he's still on oxygen? You can hear You can hear the silence. You can hear the mom breathing deeply, worried. And I said, he's got still the mask. He's got still the mask on. I don't even know how to ask what I want to ask. The next thing is going to be, I'm going to ask her if he's having the mask on when she is with him. And before I even ask this question, Mother says, he doesn't have it all the time, the mask. Oxygen mask.
Aha.
I said, aha.
Aha.
I said, she says, Mom says to me, he's got oxygen 3 times a day. I said, oh, really?
Yeah.
I say, so my mom alone says, during that hour when I'm there, he's got the oxygen on. So 3 times a day, and during the hour that I spend with him, he is hooked up to the oxygen. And what's interesting is I already did ask this question. I did not hesitate. I asked, obviously, her a question about whether he has oxygen when my mom is with him. Actually, I did not. Sorry. Now I ask a question. This is completely crazy. This is a total terror like this. So I ask the time when you spend with him, that hour that you spend with him, he's got an oxygen on, mask on his face. So I say that he cannot even speak to you in about absolutely anything then. And I am surprised because my mother did not tell me anything about this stuff. She mentioned that he has oxygen. Milan Kuchan was the one who was giving me oxygen. That's what's interesting part about it. I also have written about that stuff. Also during non-emergencies, in a parenthesis, to make me feel good is what he suggested also the oxygen is used for. By the way, British and Americans posted numerous videos on the internet because it was pertaining to the oxygen tanks, etc., because it was something that I would get in the future to make me feel good, to make me feel wonderful. They suggested that's what I find fascinating about these animals from London, about the so-called King Charles and his son William and his brother Andrew and Harry, brothers Andrew and Harry. I find it fascinating. They're brothers, I should say. I find it fascinating that some way, somehow, Americans and British knew way back in time, in 2008, that I'm going to have to spend my life in 2008. That I'm going to have to spend, and this was after evaluating oxygen, playing with the oxygen already for at least 5 years. That I'm going to have to spend my life with, they suggested me walking on the street with the oxygen tank, with a smaller oxygen tank. They were using, like through the nasal, they would put tubes that the oxygen would be leaking all the time inside and stuff like that. They were playing with all kinds of stuff during MK Ultra like this. How the fuck did you know? Because it affects me enormously these days if I don't go to walk. It's exactly copy-paste, MK Ultra copy-paste. So I'm asking that this opportunity, American Central Agency, CIA, FBI, and animals from Scotland Yard, and animals from the so-called British police, and animals from British intelligence that were here, physicians, this physician that Prince Charles now, in a parenthesis, King Charles would deliver to us, to examine me also here in this place, see everything the way I do. He had his own physicians he would deliver, and have them log and study everything about the environment, about the habits, absolutely everything. So what the fuck have you done to me? Since you also indoctrinated me with the police, that I'm not going to be capable to stay alive without walking around and getting oxygen. What exactly is this shit about? What exactly the hell was this shit about? This is the issue I did not even discuss about, I did not talk about, but it was such a big fucking issue. And yes, I noticed that if without walking, they give me a diagnosis that the best for me to walk during MK Ultra is to make about 500 meters to 1 kilometer. This is an optimal thing for me. And really, if I make 500 to kilometer distance, from 500 meters to 1000 meters, everything is nice. You sleep, can't fucking eat, go for a walk. You have to eat a lot of proteins, whatever the fuck they have done to me. This is the stuff they told me that I'm going to have a problem with the proteins, that something is not going to be processing. This is all the stuff they were doing during MK Ultra. So I like to know what the fuck have you done to me. They even said that the distances, the longer distances and the distances, this is what they were explaining to me during MK Ultra. Americans and British and the Slovenian police and the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, they were laughing at me. Milan Kucan called this disease, whatever they have done to me, accelerated aging. Accelerated aging. Referred to long walkings as injury that would be happening to your body regardless of what you're going to do. So this is the things I don't understand what the fuck you scum are trying to hide about, because these things are going to come out. And so these are the questions I will be asking you. Stuff that I have spoken about. You're going to have to answer in these questions, explaining this. So what the fuck are you playing with this? Is not bad enough? The way I exposed you, the way I pointed out the stuff that you did, you want more of it? You want to do more violence to me? You want to do more? What is it that you want to do in this whole thing? What do you think, scum, have accomplished with this stuff? I'm still alive. I'm still here. And I just told the world about the stuff that you were doing. United Nations might play crazy. They might continue to play see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing game. But this game is not efficient. More and more and more. What is being used to silence me, even the so-called Epstein files are being released, doesn't have any capacity to shut me down, to silence me, to report more about the stuff that went on. So why the fuck you continue to do this crazy stuff? Why do you do more health problems, and why you continue to do this stuff? Why are you doing this stuff? Subjecting 94-year-old man, is my father, to the crazy, insane practice, basically placing him, just like you were doing during MK Ultra, on like this limit to play with his life and death. Why the fuck you do this stuff? Who the fuck gave you the right to do this kind of stuff to the people? Did I give you the right? Do you think that my mama, who was involved in this stuff, do you think that she has the right to decide? You're gonna apologize that it was a mama who wanted this way? I'm his son, and you somehow simply do not understand. Yeah, they continue to disallow me to visit my father. They disallow, the way they refer to this. When your father is dead, this is when we're going to call you to the court, and that's when we're going to get even through the court. You have a Miran Sudin, assistant from Milan Kucan, who claimed And they negotiated with the local judges on how they're going to even, listen to this, not only take everything down from the internet, but even confiscate my hard drives. Is what your king, in a parenthesis, was so excited about. Really? Now that will be the day we yet have to see. So let's go back to the father. You are gonna do shit for me to tell you. Square, plain, and fair. Because you are in no fucking capacity. What you will do for me, you're gonna bend down like a good bitches. Put your hands behind your backs. And then you're gonna get boots on your throats. That's one thing you're gonna do for me. You're gonna do for me.
Stanje je tako, da mu je zdravnica dala kisik, da lahko diha.
The status of my father, my mother says, is such that the doctor, the physician, I already reported about that, gave him oxygen so that he can breathe. Wow. What a lunacy. The fuck is this? He's been in this kind of situation already for 2 weeks. Now, people get this temporary and they feel better. But I'd like to know what the fuck is going on. What the fuck they do to him, because I remember the physician, I remember his doctor, a female, who was playing with his life and death during MK Ultra. Literally playing with him like you will play with the toys. Literally, on several occasions they panicked that he's gonna die already during MK Ultra. So my question here to the animals in blue from Novo Mesto police station, who continue to hide themselves over there behind those walls, is how the fuck are you going to answer? How the fuck are you going to explain the stuff I am talking to the world about today? Animals in blue told me it's a simple thing. We're never gonna fucking answer any of it. Pointing at Milan Kuchan, Tanya Fayon, animals such as Betty Hochler, whom they have appointed themselves to serve at International Criminal Court, that's a ICC, where she would also bring me and point me to her new future colleagues. This was all negotiated during MK Ultra. They did. And they have gone as far as they possibly could, and they did as much as possibly they could accommodate with literally ICC members of court gesturing me nothing till the Betty Hochler, Slovenian Betty Hochler, will remain at the ICC court. That's how they told me. So,
Stanje je tako, da mu je zdravnica dala kisik, da lahko diha, pa se sprašuje. Je pa strašno veliko med zaposlenimi in med oskrbovanci gripe.
The status, the condition is such that the physician gave him a breathing mask with oxygen so that he can cough the mucus out. So basically the way I see this stuff is that during MK Ultra they were simply deteriorating his health. And in real time now, and this is a 94-year-old father, it's going to be very, very difficult to rehabilitate him. What they are doing is they are degrading his health as much as possible, I anticipate, so that when I would get him in my hands, it would have been totally impossible health-wise to rehabilitate him. They are turning him literally into plant. This is absolutely no fucking secret. They're causing him more harm, more problems, taking away from him more muscle mass. This cannot be difficult to acknowledge. She further says, there is enormously a lot of fluid and viruses among those that are employees and the visitors and the residents. So this is truly definition of lunacy. I eat to this point. This is what I do. I eat, and during eating I ask her these questions. I don't want to explode right there. I'm thinking myself how the fuck to handle this stuff. So I ask shortly a few things. I say to her, and then I go away because I got whatever the hell I needed. She's talking about the local stores and shit. I don't give a fuck about the local stores. She is pointing me at the catalogs from the local stores where they always have specialties and shit. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about my father. I don't give a fuck about your catalogs and stuff. The habits they were studying and pushing into during MK Ultra itself. Do I pull the soup out? I don't know if there was anything else in respect to this. Finally, it actually doesn't matter. What I will do is I will simply delete this stuff here, and what I will do is I will do one more time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to only give you a translation. I am not going to give any kind of comment anymore. I gave you all the comment that I had to say. Whatever I had to say, this is all the comment. Then I'm going to let you also the recording so that you can hear. By the way, it's very difficult for me to comprehend this because it's a total lunacy. And you know, I wouldn't say if I wouldn't provide absolutely everything for the father to cough out the truth so that I could save one out. I wouldn't say if I would be unreasonable. I wouldn't say if whatever would have been. But given that I was talking to him and about all kinds of things that we can do together, that we must get the fuck out of there, that I don't even have the access to him, and father continued to feign his police game, I cannot say otherwise than to refer to him as an idiot, as a complete self-destructive, toxic idiot, self-harming individual. I cannot go beyond this because he shouldn't be there in the first place. This place is, just as Milan Kuchan have stated, there will be so many viruses inside of there. There will be so many viral infections, flus, colds, that your father most likely is not going to survive. It did stress the issue of play, biohazard play, that police was playing with in that department, in that room, 200 room which they are renovating upstairs right now. I said about all that stuff. I explained about all that stuff. I explained about the games, about the viruses, about men with literally biohazard suits they had on other locations and so on, that they all the time hyped me that they would be playing with viruses and stuff during MK Ultra. They all the time insisted me. They had me when they were doing biohazard research in hospitals and so on, with their biohazard suits on and all kinds of stupid shit. Playing obviously with the viruses and so on. They wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff otherwise. Why the hell would they walk around with the biohazard suits and so on? And seems like nobody paid any attention. Milan Kuchan bet with the Slovenes very good on an organized crime, corruption through United Nations, European Union Commission, court in Strasbourg, Interpol, Europol, Department of Justice, US Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, FBI, CIA, and so on. They bet in the right locations. That is totally true. in complete agreement with Americans. These are the two countries I'm citizen of. But still, I do not understand how come the fuck witnessing like this. I don't understand how some fucking Epstein files and shit is so much more important than the stuff that I'm reporting to you based on a psychiatric certificate, mental illness certificate, with which Slovenes labeled me with in 2012. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't fucking understand. I don't understand your psychiatric standards, your psychiatry, basically psychiatric standards that apply to your democracies around the world. I don't fucking get. Who are you trying to convince that you have democracies, that you are a democratic societies, and not for what I exposed you? I don't understand. Who the hell are you trying to convince that you are normal, human-oriented societies? I don't understand any of that stuff. I don't know what you are. Of course, you try to present me and as a traitor and as all kinds of stuff, but I get it. What exactly do you think you have accomplished with your manipulations and torture and proofs that you were recording for yourself in order to prove that I was no good and etc., because this is obviously that you were doing with intention to cause me harm through local police, courts, etc., here in Slovenia. What the fuck you think you're going with it? I mean, with this stuff. You're not going anywhere with it. I mean, with so much truth released out, and that you continue to play with this kind of issues, continue to cause me more harm, more damage, more devastation, and possibly murder my father. As Robert Golob stated, he will never make it out alive, he said. Robert Golob stated me, these are the words I want to dedicate to you in the camera. Robert Golob stated to me like this, he said to me. Robert Golob stated that my father is never going to make it out alive. Fine. But what's impressive about it, he had father talk to me in my face during MK Ultra and suggested to me, so when do you come out? They make you ask questions. And father says, never. I never come out. And discuss in front of me his death and talk to me that he will die. Nurse Yanko, police from Nova Animals in blue is what I refer to them as. Politicians, psychiatrists laughing about this stuff with the father. That he will die just before you become recognized, your case becomes recognized. Based on what I experienced, he meant to say that they will get rid of him once they get rid of me. Huh? Based on what we see is taking place, I have a better translation of what they stated. Health-wise, I have a much better definition, much better translation of what my father was hallucinating about, lying to himself and to me. Nurse Yanko, I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. Let me demonstrate you this first. Let me demonstrate you this stuff here first. Let me demonstrate you this stuff. Man, this is a sick shit that just listen and watch it.
Mother just came outside and I'm not gonna say instead of bringing the father out, because I didn't expect the father is gonna come out. It's too cold to be outside right now. Mother just came to give me a news that father will not be capable to go out. Well, that would be crazy to bring him out. That's one thing. And the second thing is...
Now, I have to make an intermezzo here. You do understand I am at the home for elderly people right there. You do understand this. I am at the home for elderly people. I am in the back of the home for elderly people where police used to torture. This was like the most torturous location where I am at. This is where these animals, Slovenian animals, gave themselves the oxygen. This is what they like, this location. You do understand that. That's very important for me that you acknowledge that I am at the home for elderly people as I'm doing this. In the back of the home for elderly people. This is a very, very important stuff for me, for you to acknowledge. I am right here. You see this area here? That's where I am. So this is behind the home for elderly people. By now you should already know where this location is, but I'm making sure that you understand where exactly I am. You remember the graveyard that my mother keeps taking my father to? You remember how many times she took him? That she took him all the time to the graveyard? The graveyard is not too far from home for elderly people here, from this elder care home. This is a graveyard right here. This is where my grandfather is buried also. They claim that this is where my sister is buried. I, however, never went to visit grave from my sister because this is exactly the issue they were playing with during MK Ultra. They claimed me during MK Ultra that they were bringing me to the grave of my sister. My sister, in fact, was bringing me to her grave that she purchased. The grave, however, was just purchased, I don't know, not too long ago by my niece, that kind of stupid shit. They play a psychiatry, and I don't want to give them a pleasure of the lunacy. Look, the Slovenian animals, and I regretfully have to say that part of it definitely are family of my own, are not a normal people. They are sick. They are beyond sickening and sick people. This is beyond sickening. This is not a sick joke. This is beyond mentally ill, sick shit. I guess that animals in Britain live like this. I guess they like this kind of play over there in London, where in a Windsor Palace where Charles used to live, he all the time proudly actioned about the psychiatric hospitals in the area. The Café La Rosée, claiming that I am mentally ill because of the problem that I have with the Russians, that is located right next to his castle in Windsor. But this stuff is, I'm not gonna say, this is disgusting, this is sick. The question is also only, I know that this has a purpose. They were trying to make me ill out of this stuff. What exactly have these animals believed they're going to create? What kind of personality disorders do they believe they're going to accomplish with this kind of stuff? I mean, so far you accomplish absolutely nothing. You are rather laughable. You yourself are rather laughable. But with so much exposure that I have done, that I pointed at the people, I mean, what exactly do you guys think you accomplished and you will accomplish by pointing out the world that you're absolute animals? You're absolute animals! To do the stuff like this to the people, it's absolute animals. You're not fucking normal. Maybe I can negotiate when it comes to my family, the issues. But I sure cannot negotiate the butchers, Slovenian Red Terror, and those who claim they are not part of the Red Terror, such as Janez Janša, Luis Peterle, Dmitry Rupel, Igor Baučar, Aleš Hojs, etc., etc. I cannot rationalize you. You're beyond sick. Don't you know? It's your job. It was your job to report yourself to police. And if the police didn't want to do anything, to report to me. You don't understand, you don't know anything about that? Because you're not any better than communists. Because you work for them. Because you yourself are proving that the communists who murder out there, right out on a bright daylight, are still better than you, scum, because you are so backstabbing that you come out as an option whom I should address my attention to, even more criminally insane, more criminally corrupt. You elected them based on what when you claim me is going to be a punishment for me if I will not skip your portion of the genocide against me, and you are being used literally to demonstrate that you yourself are worse than what they are. Why don't you, scum, go and kill yourself? I didn't know the day is going to come when I'm going to call you out and say, why don't you, Slovenian scum, Janez Janša, Lojze Peterlehois, and others, why don't you go and kill yourself and do people favor? Why don't you do this? I just explained you, you're worse than a red terrorist, Slovenian red terrorists. I explained to you. I couldn't explain you better. If you care so much, why don't you just go, scum, and kill yourself? Those are the instructions that I got during MK Ultra. Who the hell would have thought that the day is gonna come when I'm gonna proudly like this be capable to look you, Slovenes, in the eyes and say to you just like this. It's not about saying, it's about proving the ability to say this.
She stated that he is coughing, that he is heavily coughing, and they're not sure if he's going to stand up, if he's going to be able even to get up. Wow, man. I do have audio recorded, and whatever was allowed to record outside, also his video recorded. Mother would not take him indoors to the area where people are, because she claimed that he can get some virus or that he can get cold, whatever, that kind of stuff. Now he is, without even going anyplace, is sick. I understand. Again, they did it again. Isn't that amazing? And on top of that, mother says that there is a lot of COVID and flu. Gripa is flu. So she says they don't even know whether he has COVID or flu. Where? There is a way to find out, isn't it? That's one thing. And the second thing is, she said we probably are the one who gave him, and that's all based on MK Ultra scenario brainwash. If they're going to kill the father, it will be it will be us. And that will be because we keep him outside too much. So she just came out and she gave me, in her own way, the news. Why would you go out and tell this to somebody? I don't understand. I didn't really expect him to come out. I was going to go to the front lobby, but it's still early. Usually take her time to bring him out. I do not understand. It was 13 minutes after 1 o'clock when she came out. And yes, I was here. I was video recording the stuff they were discussing during MK Ultra. Oh hell yeah, the police siren also went on when mother came out and gave me the news. This news here, this is what I was video recording. Yushich was extremely excited to...
What I just stated to you about the police sirens and stuff like this, I'm going to demonstrate you in a video how they were doing this during MK Ultra. It was not only the Slovenes that were doing this, Italians were doing the same thing, Americans were doing the same shit. But Italians and Americans would be doing this kind of stuff, I do have to admit that part, to recognize them, to remind myself on the videos when I would be watching, on the internet, about MK Ultra issues. It was of a different nature than what you see here is taking place in Slovenia. In Slovenia, they're doing this out of the pure sadism.
Together with the Stefanic about this They were all thrilled about this stuff here. Yeah. What this is, the news that she gave me now, this just to drive you fucking crazy. This is all MK Ultra related stuff. One way or the other, these people are gonna go to the jail. Stuff they do is highly, highly illegal, highly, highly criminal. It's not what you're supposed to do. Not allowed to do like this with the people.
What I did not do,
Mother just came.
I cannot find
outside,
I cannot find the recording about this stuff. Right now, it's a video recording. I'm gonna put some other time. It's gonna be the original recording.
Whatever.
It would be better, however, that I find that original recording. That would be a much better option.
Now the father, unless he's going to be here and there, I'm going to take a very sharp.
This was filmed on December 11, and I'm pretty sure that this is the place.
I came to visit father yesterday, got a telephone. The telephone came.
This I don't think that this is.
Right. Yeah, things around in my. He was also using other.
I got yet to find that video. I have to find the video. It's just that I'm trying to find the video where I explain the purpose of those trees that you see right there. You can actually see through a local graveyard. That's why I took you to the graveyard. We have to finish that portion of it. And for the hell of it, I am not capable to.
Mother just came outside.
Not capable to find that video right now. I had to find it, transfer some files to another hard drive and stuff. But this is the area where my father alone told me on multiple occasions, bringing me right here in front of the police, psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, he says, Slovenian animals in blue. These are animals. These are not people. And would repeatedly give me an answer. It would make me always ask him, when does he come out? When do you come out? And my father would always end up pointing me during the winter time. This is the issue they have discussed 20 years back in time, since I should say. Whether there should also be a tree planted that you see right there. You see the space, the area between the two trees? They discussed the issue about planting the tree over there. Mateja Jericheva, the director of the Home for Elderly People, was laughing to me about this case in my face, right here in this parking lot. Came to me in my face with the ex-Novo Mesto police director Janez Ogulin repeatedly, laughed in my face. She's an extremely good friend of Janez Ogulin, or as Janez Ogulin even claimed, is her a relative. But I don't think she's a relative. I think the two fucked together a lot. She would come like this in the face to me, and during MK Ultra, and she would say to me, after they demonstrated me the graveyard, and father repeatedly, when they would making me ask about, when are you coming out of this home for elderly people? It would always be his answer, never. I will go right there that you see right there. He was playing a tragedy. He loved to feel sorry for himself. He loved to see expressions on my face. He loved actually through the torture to see me fall apart. That it pertained to him. This is what the police, as I stated at the beginning of this video. My father is a nutcase, and police was making him even more toxic. They were making him even crazier. They were making him even more poisoned with already mental poison they inflicted inside of his head. And he really enjoyed this drama. And they would repeatedly do this shit. For at least 15 years they would bring me here and point me out the graveyard right there with Nurse Yerich, Mateja Yericheva, who, by the way, did not work here, of course. She was a ghost worker. I told you the ghost workers are the people that would appear inside of the certain stores, including with the non-existing stores, which they would suggest me. During MK Ultra, I was delivered to those little stores and all kinds of stuff like this. Why? So that I would not go and identify, legitimately other people in other stores, of course, in the area. That's why. That's why they were doing that stuff, right? So you place the store. 30 years ago, you put the people who work inside of the store. It's not a big store, but it's big enough that you make impression on somebody who's going to come to visit you with assignment, with a police assignment, is brainwashed by the police, instructed by the CIA, by the FBI, to identify the people, instructed literally by Europol, Interpol. Europol did not exist. Interpol knew absolutely everything about it. Instructed by Department of Justice, instructed by the European Commission that witnessed all this stuff, participated in, and demanded from me to prove the existence of the so-called MK Ultra on behalf of the lunatics from London. And what they do is they bring the ghost store here and there, they bring it back with the people that you're going to meet in the future for you to say, oh, well, but you were here 30 years ago and I remember you. And then they go, no, that must be a mistake, that was not me, and so on. They were doing this kind of stuff. They were switching locations with the stores that existed on another location under different name and so on, with the same people, that would areas that would somewhat remind of the stores that you would be placed in the future. Such was the case through the Zgierz, through the Lodge. It's exactly what they were doing in many other locations. Wherever they anticipated the MK Ultra is going to play out, that's exactly what they were doing. For the locations for which they knew you're not going to be capable to avoid, or that the chance was so great that you're not going to be capable to avoid, or wherever the MK Ultra went, that's what exactly they would do. They would use that ghost stores with the ghost workers, or were using a ghost workers through MK Ultra, through locations that were similar, that reminded of those stores that the stores would look in the future, even the gas stations that did not exist, by using a three-dimensional goggles and stuff like this. This is the way they do this stuff to the people. That's how they wanted to dispute this stuff. I'm just explaining this stuff. And so Mateja Yericheva, psychiatrist Mateja Yericheva, because you have to be an animal to do the stuff like this, would come in my face together with Janez Ogulin. That was an animal, truly father of all animals also, who would be laughing in my face all the time. You're not gonna make it, you're this and that and so on, and would use Mateja Yericheva to literally laugh in my face right in this location here. Come in my face, and she would say, yeah, you're right, I deliberately do not plant, I really failed by not planting the tree over there, in between those trees over there. And she would be laughing in my face. So I guess that these people wanted to prove that I'm mentally not capable to, obviously, the stuff that I report to you about. Obviously that I would not be mentally capable. They obviously made the decisions that something was terribly wrong with me, and that I was not aware about what exactly I was talking to, referring to. That was all that play with the time, with all that kind of stuff that they believe that is going to eventually, based on the laws of mathematics, is going to add up to them the way they want it. And it's just not happening. It's just not happening. It's just coming more and more ugly, and more ugly for you. So I can only I can only actually really, it makes me feel good. I can only speculate how these animals feel about themselves today when everything is coming out. I can only speculate about how they feel. And I think they feel like a shit. I think that when they see themselves inside of the mirrors, they see shit in front of them. Just like that. So this was the location that they were using for at least 15 years to 20 years to pose at the winter time, example me on how the story with the father is going to end, where the father is going to go, how this whole thing is going to end, how, you know, we shall, and etc., etc. So, you know, being in a really circumstances like this that make you recall about the stuff that went on during MK Ultra and being mistreated like this, yeah, I guess they hope they're going to get something, they're going to accomplish something significant, that they're going to somehow manage to get away with it. But, you know, it's exactly very extremely opposite that took place. I mean, I talk about Pablo Escobar, I talk about all this stuff that CIA got me into, and you guys, seems to me like you don't understand. Maybe you don't understand English. Or maybe you still hope you're going to have a judge that's going to say you're not supposed to record people, you're not supposed to record, I don't know, they talk about the license plates and so on. You're not supposed to record, I don't know, at the police station. You're not supposed to record at home for elderly people because we have laws, we have regulations, and etc., etc., etc. And we are logical because our regulations match those of the other countries where they are also according to these standards, and etc., etc. Nah, I think that you guys, you know, hoped what? They're gonna take my hard drive. Man, this is not blog. These are not videos. Don't you fucking see? This is a witnessing, a testimony against all odds. You continue to insist on things based on psychiatric certificate that you basically Iron Mask. And the movie about Iron Mask, they all the time laugh in my face about the Iron Mask, how they're gonna place in my face. Prince Andrew, Charles, they laugh about how it will be, he shall be, it will be, we will prove, we shall prove. I don't understand you. What the fuck do you guys hope for? I know that you hope for the worst, but I'm interested how you're going to accomplish, because the police only hallucinate about one thing, that they will actually, the way they solve the problem is by them never answering the questions. So, I'm quite impressed with this rigging. Violence even more impresses me. And moreover, I am thinking about if father like this is going to even be capable to survive this ordeal because of ultra lengthy stays, because of play with the death that they played during MK Ultra that costed him a great deal of health, and in a planned condition, the way they do this to him, which is going to be extremely bad on his heart functions, because it's going to be very difficult for the heart suffers the most, internal organs suffer the most about this stuff. This is a systematic killing. I hope you do understand that. And if he somehow by miracle I get him out and survives this, do you know what kind of toll this is going to take on him, on his organism, to empower him, power him back on feet? I was extremely unhappy with his physical condition when he was 91 years old, 4 years ago, 3 years ago and a half. I wanted him to eat good. I wanted him to do exercise. I recall everything also about the stuff they told me during MK Ultra. They drove me insane about the muscles, especially when you get old. And what they were doing, they were using an example out of me. how the muscles die away. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a real professor about how the muscle die out, together with Sylvester Stallone, how the muscle die out if you don't exercise, etc., etc. Completely useless shit. We all know this stuff, but I'm asking that so many people gave so many useless advices. They did not apply because of lack of money or because of how the fuck can I go exercise with father or do anything when I'm not even allowed inside of the facility, which is used only for, all along was used for this stuff. How is this going to have impact on his long-term rehabilitation when even if I somehow manage to get him out alive and give him all he needs with such a dire problems that you continue to enforce? What kind of outcome can I expect as somebody who's going to take care of the father? What does he have left? What can he expect out of whatever he have out of the life based on the stuff that you scum continue to do? He should be doing really eye surgeries, because there are surgeries that allow you to even remove the problem with a yellow spot. There is this kind of stuff that exists now. He should be worrying about building muscles, improving his cardiovascular health, improving his mental health. He's got a stroke. There is a brain electrodes and stuff that exist. He's got problem also with the arterial problem. It's also, what exists is cleaning of the veins, arteries also, that is they do very successfully, so and so on. And instead of that, what you continue to do is you continue to, it is completely unprecedented scum, Slovenian scum, to watch your audacity doing with me, with my father, the stuff that you continue to do, and this despite everything I exposed. I don't fucking get you. Let me go and let me translate this whole thing one more time.
Kako je oče?
Kašla še skozi drugače.
Še skozi kašla?
How is the father doing? Mother says, coughing, he is still coughing, and I said, he is still coughing.
Še skozi kašla?
In na kisik je še skozi.
And he's also on the oxygen. He's still on the oxygen.
Kako? Na kisik?
I said, he's still coughing, and my mom says, and he's still on a oxygen, like she had nothing to do with it, right? I said, he's still on the oxygen.
Ko je še skozi? Tudi ko si ti tam, ima kisik gor?
She is deeply breathing, you can hear. And I said, even when you are there, the father, so yes, I did say it first. I said, even when you are there with the father, he still has a mask on. She says, he doesn't have a oxygen on him, oxygen mask on him all the time.
Aha.
He has oxygen 3 times a day. You hear me saying I say I am not happy. Trust me, I say I am such a person that you can get in a lot of trouble just by making assumptions on my facial expressions. Easily. Because I'm a person that will give you no fucking clue about how I see things is. And so that's why you hear like it's like normal. That's not normal for me. None of this stuff is normal, really.
Yeah, tisto uro, ko sem jaz tam doma.
Well, that hour, my mother says, that hour I'm with him, I spend with him, he does have an oxygen mask on his face.
Čisto uro, ki si ti tam doma,
I am debelo gleda in Slovenian say I look like a cow in a new door. That's another expression. Or I look fatly. I am a bit in disbelief what I hear, and I said the time that I repeat after the mother, I say that the hour that you spend with him, he has a mask on it. She says yes.
in pa ne more s tabo govoriti, ničesar.
And I figure out, I say to her, if he does have a mask on it, obviously he cannot talk to the mom about anything, right? That's obvious. So I say to her, he cannot talk to you about anything in that case, right?
To je tako hudo stanje, tako stanje, kot tu je.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised about this shit. I said, is it really so bad? Is it really, really, really such a bad condition that my father is in? By the way, I think I made a... No, it's okay. That's okay. I said, is it really such a bad... Is it such a bad condition, such a bad shape he is in?
Stanje je tako, da mu je zdravnica dala kisik, da lahko diha.
The condition is such that doctress give him oxygen so that he can breathe.
Da se skašljuje.
So that he can cough out, obviously mucus.
Je pa strašno veliko med zaposlenimi in med oskrbovanci gripe.
There is enormously a lot among visitors, residents, and of course employees of the home of elderly people. A lot of flu. There is a lot of flu. She is doing a catalog in front of me from local Lidl, Hofer, whatever Aldi you call that store. These are two different stores. I know Hofer and Aldi are same. Lidl is completely different. I'm not crazy, is what I'm trying to say. I understand what you think. Because that's how you thought. I remember how you thought during MK Ultra. You were only searching on a ways out, basically, interpreting things according to your own lies, whatever fits you best. Von der Leyen. Ursula. She talks about the catalog Hofer. Aldi, I should say. Yeah, they all the time thought about how the way I communicated and I was drugged up. These people fucking animals all the way. I wish I could say something different to you. I wish I could interpret this stuff different way. But unfortunately I really cannot. Specialty of the physician which serves father-in-law was to terrorize all the time with the murder of my father. The physician who is assisting my father, she will have to confess herself about getting in my face and repeatedly, many occasions, and remind me that every time she stated with the Robert Golob that she is going to murder my father. That's a big deal about this video. Just as Mateja Jericheva, director of the Home for Elderly People, the ghost worker who actually worked in Ljubljana and was commuting herself to Novo Mesto for this type of... I don't even know how I would refer to this, because this is not gaslighting, this is more than that. Just like her specialty was to come in my face laughingly and say, I guess I did make a mistake because I did not plant the tree between those two trees. He, 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 he. The job of the physician, doctor, doctress, which is taking care of my father, was to talk to me about how father struggled during MK Ultra to stay alive. They were bringing me to his bed, and I would have to watch him basically completely dead. Psychiatrist Peter Kopch and Animals in Blue from Novo Mesto Station, in a parenthesis police station, they would deliver me to the father to his bed, for which they would many times repeated me that it's a question if he will survive, and then like elevation, like I am so glad that he survived. I'm so glad father is out of that danger and that kind of stuff. This is what they were doing during MKUltra. And so this is basically, these are the episodes. There is people who see things that do not exist, and there is people who actually enjoy sadism, killing of other people through driving them completely insane. So they do have this type of episodes. So what kind of mental illness is that? That's called a government. Government also has episodes. When somebody like myself find itself, there was not many like myself, I suppose, but it points out to the world about what you are all about, scum. Then you obviously have the episodes. You have the outbreaks of the violence. You continue to have the outbreaks of the violence, which however are supported by United Nations. And so you see yourself as in charge, you see yourself legitimate, legal, because you have people at United Nations, European Union Commission, Ursula von der Leyen behind you. You have US Justice Department of State. You have a killer, murderer, serial killer sitting inside of the White House. These are the things, just like you had Joe Biden, the same thing. These are the things that makes you feel that what you are doing is actually even normal. The thing is, it's not. You are ill. You're mentally ill for having outbreaks of such violence in my face. You are beyond mentally ill. This goes into the category of other issues, political issues also that I explained to you about. I'm going to sue Slovenia for even giving me lessons about Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. That's basically the biggest evil in the history of the world. It goes into that category I would not like to discuss. It is unprecedented, the stuff that they continue to go on. It's unprecedented about the stuff they continue to go on. But this, based on my personal opinion, has to do also with the mental illness. It does have to do with British royals, with the CIA, with the Slovenian animals, with Animals in Blue, Slovenes in general, because this stuff should never be happening in the first place. It's got to do also with some other issues. It's got to do. There is undoubtedly severe, the most severe, like Joseph Stalin, Hitler-alike mental illness that we, like, let's say Radovan Karadzic, Slovenets, Slovenian Radovan Karadzic, Slovenian Slobodan Milošević. You know the Milošević, Karadzico. They were not too far from here. They were coming here to Slovenia. It was their homeland. There is undoubtedly, it's not about Hitler and Stalin and etc. We have animals, proven animals, right here, not too far from here. It's undoubtedly about severe mental illness. The type of mental illness that had Princess Diana divorce Prince Charles. Srebrenica mental illness. Remember the Srebrenica? Undoubtedly, I am dealing with incredible size category of the mental illness pertaining to the people. From psychiatric hospital, home for elderly, police, court system, and animals from abroad with whom they signed the contracts. How do you dare to do it? The question only here is, when you are so exposed, how? Where the fuck do you get? How do you dare to do that? Remember, tomorrow you're going to be talking about the Chinese, how they are violating the rights of people in Hong Kong and people in Taiwan and people in other regions. I'm not saying that they do not. I'm not saying that they do not violate the rights of the Muslims, people that minorities. That's not what the fuck I'm saying. This is not the point. But how the fuck you refute the truth, ugly truth about yourself through concerns, through completely controlled, organized crime that you refer to as United Nations, International Criminal Court, and European Commission for Human and I don't know, Court for Human Rights, and etc., 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 etc. Some kind of department or some kind of a justice, and Supreme Court, American Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, and how the fuck dare you do this shit? Because the normal human being knows that this is true. The normal human being understands. People watched, people understood what you're going to do, but what goes beyond my belief is understanding of how the fuck you manage to do this kind of stuff despite being completely exposed. This is the stuff, you see, that I don't understand you. You talked about mental illness. In fact, you talked to me about during MKUltra that you will be looking exactly for the videos when I become mentally unstable and so on. But this is not the mental instability. This is pointing out that you are scum of the scum through the examples. I'm giving you fucking examples. Yet you continue to search for some kind of proofs, that you continue to search. You remember when you had me inside of the psychiatric hospital, I was asking you, how are you going to prove that something is wrong with me, that I'm mentally ill? How? Because there was nothing mentally ill about me. How are you going to prove? And you wouldn't give me the answer. So again, the question is, it's 2025, it's December the 24th, because it's already after midnight. I was going to say 23rd. You have exactly opposite from the proofs. So where do you get this kind of audacity? Where do you get that much audacity? Where do you get this kind of audacity to have this kind of stuff going on? Driving somebody completely out of his fucking mind with an idea to convince world about what exactly are you going to convince the world about with your Epstein files? You're positioning yourself like you try to make yourself look like a liberal country, like democratic country, like country where things come out, where in other parts don't come out, other parts of the world don't come out, and so on. What the fuck are you trying to prove when you already have proven that your democracy does not exist? Not that it failed, but it never fucking existed. Just like you tutored your own CIA spies to take pills if they get caught by other agencies, so they would not spit the truth out, which is, in my personal opinion, it's extremely unethical, because these were the best of the best the country had, that bet their lives online to do stuff so that other people could live normally, so that economy and country would function and so on. Yet you tutor them and you make them eat fucking pills so they would choke, die, so as you tutor them, so that secrets would not come out of them. Or let's say your military, that you are using the officers whom you, by the way, instructed to push your own people straight, directly, regular soldiers, I guess, directly into enemies' traps. And whom your own soldiers, as it became evident, people watch this stuff on the internet, liquidated. Your own soldiers killed your own officers because they were so podlo, rotten, I would say. So my question here is, what do you think out of this case you are accomplishing at this point? What exactly do you think you are accomplishing? It appears you're not worried about the democracy, like I said. Why would you worry about something that never existed? Right? Your democracy never existed. I existed, but your democracy is bullshit. Yeah, she was driving me insane using exactly the case I exampled you with today. The doctress from my father, lecturing me that she can do stuff like this. At first, she said 3 times. Then she reduced the number to maximum 2 times to father, and then the father is gonna be like this. Literally was giving me signs, not signs, but giving me answers that clearly suggested that father would be dead, which she also make herself proud in front of me together with Robert Golob. The doctors from the father, the physician, the medic, made herself clear directly in my face next to Robert Golob that she will kill my father, that he will only maybe manage to survive 2 like this, and it will be all over with. So what the fuck are you people doing? Let me ask you a question. When you're gonna kill my father, I'm still gonna be here, and I'm gonna be asking you same question. This isn't gonna fucking end. I will continue to end the same question. I will continue to do exactly the same thing as I do. And I guess that you will continue to pretend to see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing. I get it. Through your controlled agencies, through your Betty Hochler, you will continue to, Slovenian Betty Hochler, you will continue to see nothing, hear nothing, and know nothing, and you will continue to talk about the communists. You're going to have your Janez Janša, and everything will be normal. The economy will be normal in America. Everything will be normal. The crisis will be over. Everything will be normal, because we are the world that is normal. No, Gaza is not happening. Also, I understand all that stuff. I get it.
Kako je oče?
Kašla še skozi drugače.
Še skozi kašla? Še skozi kašla?
In na kisik je še skozi.
Kako? Na kisiku je še skozi? Tudi ko si ti tam, ima kisik gor?
Vsega nima, tudi imaš. Nama,
Aha,
enkrat na dan.
aha.
Ja, tisto uro, ko sem jaz tam doma.
Tisto uro, ki si ti tam doma? Pa ne more s tabo govoriti, ničesar.
Ja.
To je tako hudo stane, tako stane, kot tu je.
Stanje je tako, da mu je zdravnica dala kisik, da lahko diha, pa se sprašuje. Je pa strašno veliko med zaposlenimi in med oskrbovanci gripe.
Hm?
To je to brez konca,